Thank you everybody for taking a minute to watch this video. I'm Ronnie and today I'm joined by Andrew. We're going to be talking best practices around Christmas. And I know some of you are disappointed that we're not in elf ears or reindeer antlers. There was a little bit of chatter on Discord about that, but we're in red and green. Andrew, I feel like that's effort.
I think that was good effort. Absolutely.
Yeah. So if you weren't part of this conversation and don't know what I'm talking about, that probably means that you need to get on Discord. If you're interested in that, email marketing@touchpointsoftware.com. Our church partners are connecting there. There's always good conversation happening, and you should definitely join us there. So like I said, today we're talking best practices around Christmas. Of course, we have to start the conversation with a question to get to know Andrew. We're all dying to know, Andrew. What is your favorite Christmas movie?
Oh boy. One day we should just do an entire video just about this, just Christmas movies. So if I'm gonna sit down and watch a Christmas movie with the family, it's gotta be Elf, right? Just get the whole family in there, just laugh. It's a good time. But scientifically speaking, the best Christmas movie is, of course, It's a Wonderful Life, just by far.
Okay. It's a Wonderful Life is absolutely a classic. I don't know about scientifically, but subjectively, totally agree with you. So let's move into a couple of questions we get to glean from Andrew's expertise today. Let's start with this first one here. Of course, around Christmas time, a lot of churches are seeing an influx in crowds. We've got lots of people coming to attend. Andrew, what are some of the unique ways that TouchPoint can facilitate us understanding so that we can prepare how many people, how many kids might be planning on attending our events and services?
Yeah, so this can be a tough thing for churches because on a week-to-week basis, you of course generally know how many people you should expect on a weekend, but around Christmas, around the holidays, that gets a little bit trickier. So one thing that you can do that I've seen churches do is utilize this concept of what we call the RSVP link. And if you've never used the RSVP link, think just the most simple registration form you've ever used in your life. In fact, you don't even have to go to the registration form to complete it. It's literally a link you receive. It says, do you plan to attend? You say yes, confirm, and then you're done. And if you want to get real fancy, you could also have a no, which would be the regrets link for those individuals who just want to take a moment to let you know, no, I won't be there. But what this can do for you is kind of give you a general sense of what to expect for those weekends. But if you need a little bit more, than that, just knowing kind of generally how many people are going to come, you could also just do an entire registration form. A simple registration form where someone can indicate how many, the age of their kiddos. And so when you sit down to say, hey, how many volunteers do we need? How many rooms open do we need? You have a pretty good idea of what different age groups are going to be represented.
Yeah, and how much coffee to brew. That's really important.
That's the important stuff, yes.
RSVP links and registration forms are a great way to do that. Andrew, what would you recommend as far as communicating those to our people?
So the best way, in my opinion, is text messages. Email, of course, is a great communication method, but on your best days, you're looking at about 33% open rate on emails. So text messages, it's just a little bit more upfront. People have it there. We're all sort of conditioned, whether good or bad, to have our phones near us and consume communication that way. But both of those methods, whether it's emailing or text messaging, do utilize the TouchPoint registration links. Those are those registration links, or RSVP links, that knows who the individual is when they click on them. So it really expedites that process for the user. And so using one of those two communications methods with kind of an emphasis on texting, I think is your best bet there.
Yeah, I love that. Like you said, we all have our phone really close to us at all times. So communicating through our phone via text or even the app. I've seen churches put the RSVP link or a registration link behind a banner and take a minute even in service in the weeks leading up to Christmas, saying, let's take a minute right now. If you're planning on being here, go ahead and open your app or text and let us know. So that's a really great way for us to do that in a way that doesn't feel connected or maybe get missed in an email box with lots of unread emails.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, so we've got big crowds, and part of those big crowds, of course, there are lots of guests or first timers with us. How would you advise a church to prepare for follow-up with those people post-Christmas?
Yeah, I think this is a place where a little bit of planning goes a really long way. Kind of having a sense and working with your volunteers to know what we're going to be asking our guests to do when they show up. Because every church, that's a no-brainer. You've already thought through. We're going to ask our guests to do something. They're going to fill out a Connect card. They're going to go to a designated location where they can maybe meet the pastor, something of that nature. So just bring the whole team into the fold on what that plan is, and then further, the most important part here is how are we going to get that data into the database? If they're filling out a Connect card of some kind, or they're jotting their name down on kind of a guest book, something like that, how are we going to get that information into the database? And then from there, that's half the battle. From there, the sky's the limit. We can do just about anything that we want, from the very, very simple of just an email the next day to say thank you for joining us, to a process via the process builder that is going to put them into a bit of a drip campaign where they're going to receive an email in the next 2 days, and then 4 days after that they're going to get a text message, and then 3 months after that they're going to get a phone call from a designated member of our staff, and so on and so forth. So as long as we can get that data in the database, we really have an opportunity to do a lot of ministry beyond that.
Yeah, that's good. It's kind of age-old wisdom there, right? Have a plan, execute the plan. That's good.
That's right. Yep.
What are some simple things that we can do to carry maybe unique holiday cheer or Christmas branding into our system and through our guest experience?
Yeah, one area that I think gets missed sometimes, because of course you're going to be updating things like shells, which I'll talk about in just a moment, but registration shells, things like that. But it's the children's check-in kiosks. You probably have some kind of a design element there already, but you can update that to kind of reflect the holidays and the holiday spirit. I think that really goes a long way, because people notice that. I mean, they walk into the lobby and they look around, they see those kiosks, and to have that kind of fit the motif of what you're trying to do there around the holidays, I think that really goes a long way. Like I said, you also have your registration shells, coming up with a few beautiful Christmas time registration shells. That's something that our team can help with. If you take care of the graphics, our team can assist on the technical side. So having some shells that look great and kind of help point us towards the Christmas spirit, I think that really goes a long way.
Yeah, I love that. I don't think I would have thought of the check-in kiosks, but imagine that family walking up to it and it matches the lobby or the invite that somebody gave them. I think that's really well thought through. That's a great idea. So with Christmas, of course, there are lots of directions we could go, lots of questions I could ask. I'm just going to open the floor. Is there anything else that you'd like to share in this format for our churches?
Well, one of the coolest things about my job, I work with churches all over the country, and one of the coolest things about my job is just seeing all the really amazing ways that our churches interact with their community, reach the lost, and do ministry. So some things that come to mind, we have a lot of churches that they'll do like a Christmas tree, a Christmas ornament tree, and they'll put in the lobby, and then you go and you pick an ornament, and then that ornament will tell you, hey, you're buying girls' toys for a donation, for a girl's gift, that kind of thing. Really, really cool ministry. I've seen that sort of digitized and brought into TouchPoint, and people will actually build using the ticketing software. You can build like a tree that people can go choose an ornament from. I've seen people utilize our registration forms. In some churches, there's kind of this concept of purchasing one of the poinsettias that the church now has, and then you get a tax deductible donation credit for that quote unquote purchase. It's not a purchase at that point, by the way, but it's a donation credit where you receive a gift in return for that donation. But I've seen churches utilize our registration forms for that. and all kinds of other creative ways, and a lot of this is like the TouchPoint. We just sort of want to fade into the background and support the ministry itself. And so some of these other ministries going into underserved communities and being able to provide ministry to people, and it's not awkward because it's the holidays, and that's sort of your foot in the door to meet with people that you wouldn't otherwise meet, and then you can really for the other 11 months of the year do a lot of ministry that way.
Yeah, that's right. So considering how we're gathering the data so that we can utilize it, leverage it later to just keep caring for and seeing and connecting with people, I think that's great. Thanks so much, Andrew, for sharing some of those tips and tricks for us to consider as we get into the holiday season. Thanks for taking a minute to watch this video. We, of course, are praying for you guys. We know how much work Christmas prep and just everything you're doing. It's not just set lists, it's volunteers, and like we were talking about TouchPoint system, there's just so much that goes into Christmas. You can count on our team for praying for you through this busy season. Like I said, thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.